Okay, so Nietzsche begins his investigation by examining the work of a British philosopher and psychologist, who, mind you, is working in the same vein that Mill was working from. So, if we recall from Mill, that principle of utility was based on usefulness in producing pleasure and avoiding pain, right, for the greatest number. Right? So, likewise, this British psychologist and philosopher claimed that originally the good was connected to that which is useful. Right? So, that which we call good in terms of an action at its origins, at its genealogical roots, was connected with what people find handy. Right? And he theorizes that unegoistic acts were experienced by a number of people and deemed to be useful. Right? So eventually, right, as custom and tradition got hold of this unegoistic equals useful, good equals useful, unegoistic equals useful, therefore good equals unegoistic kind of formula. Right? What we find is that this custom divorced this concept of good from useful and just called good unegoistic. Right? So we get sort of a simple useful equals useful, good equals unegoistic kind of formula out of this. Right? Now, this seems to make a lot of sense of our moral judgments. Right? If we look at each and every one of the moral theorists that we've studied, Aristotle considered us to be political animals, right? Social animals, connected to one another. Right? So our searches for happiness involve other people. Right? And virtues are generally those things that tend to make us cooperate with the pack. Right? Likewise, we find in Socrates, doing something good is more important, like taking care of your soul is more important than taking care of your body. So even if the action is not good for you, it can be good in itself. So really what we should do is distance ourselves rationally from our self-interest. Both Kant and Mill, we find the same thing. Right? We find the same thing in the ultimate sanction for the principle of utility. It's the greatest good for the greatest number. We want to get along with people. Right? We're logically required to calculate the greatest good for the greatest number because in willing our own good, right, we wish other people to participate in it. Again, for Kant, with his categorical imperatives, it's exactly what we're factoring out of our judgments is self-interest. Right? Good equals unegoistic. Right? Now, what Nietzsche wants to do, and he falls back to some etymology for this, trying to research into the origins of word meanings, right, is that he wants to claim that it's not those who experience the usefulness of these unegoistic acts that call these acts good, but rather the good themselves. Right? Now, excuse me just 1 second, I'll get my quotation. Right, from page 12 of your text, Nietzsche claims, the judgment of good does not derive from those whom goodness is shown. Rather, the good themselves, that is, the noble, the powerful, the superior, the high-minded, were the ones who felt themselves and their actions good, that is, of the first rank, and posited them as such in contrast to everything low, low-minded, and plebeian. Right? So Nietzsche claims that if you look at the words for good, the words for noble, the words for any of these concepts that we have come to value, right, what you find is that the good equals healthy, happy, powerful, noble, high-minded. Right? All of these things were self-applied by those who were healthy, happy, powerful, noble, high-minded. As though they said, we are the good. Right? And this term, the bad, right? If that's the good, the bad, right? The powerful, the noble, the healthy, the high-minded, the happy, right, would then apply the term bad, which simply means sick, unhappy, weak, common, low-minded, right? So we find, even in philosophically, right, what we found in Socrates and in Aristotle was that bad was simply a lack of the good, right? We find that in entomology as well, good, applied by the powerful to themselves, is contrasted to what we call bad, which is simply a lack of the good. Right? So, right at the origins of moral philosophy, right, and right in the etymological origins of the terms good and bad, we find that it is extremely egoistic. What's good? Well, we're good. We're happy, we're healthy, we're powerful. Right? And what's bad? Well, anything that's not happy, healthy, powerful, noble, high-minded, what have you. It's those people that don't have those qualities. Right? So, ultimately, right, Nietzsche wants to claim that it's these judgments find themselves an amoral origin. Right? It's not a concept of utility. It's not a concept of use from which we get the origins of these particular words, but rather it's from an egoistic statement, a self-application. Right? We're good.